12 times in our Torah, God wrote the importance of keeping the Sabbath. It's an eternal covenant between me and the nation of Israel. For those of us who make Kiddush on Friday night and on Shabbos morning, we say a few words, but not always we pay attention to what we say. We say, V'shamru bnei Israel et ha-Shabbat. The nation of Israel observed the Sabbath. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam brit olam. To make the Sabbath for generations an eternal covenant. Beini uvel bnei Israel. Between me and the nation of Israel, ot ileolam. It's a sign for eternity. To know that I, God, created the world in 6 days and in the 7th day I rested. The Torah says it 12 times in different places, more than anything else, besides loving the converts. Every other topic is not mentioned so many times. The reward for the Sabbath is tremendous. The punishment is impossible to understand. How can it be so bad? Even worse than someone who committed a murder, which indicates that to the Creator of the world, the covenant of the Sabbath is even more important than anything else. Include, you should not kill. This is a covenant, not that many mitzvot the word covenant was used for. This is the foundation of Judaism. According to the law, if a Jew does not keep the law of the Sabbath, he cuts himself out of Judaism. Many Jews, of course, don't know it. How important is the Sabbath? Because we grew up in a generation with environment that everyone basically drives and violates Shabbat, and it became a normal things to do. But that's the truth. We open Shulchan Aruch, the book of law. In 7 different places in the book of laws, of Jewish law, it says it. Mechalel Shabbat, someone who was violating the Sabbath, exclude himself from any holy ceremony of Judaism. Exclude himself from Judaism. And many other horrible things that I don't even want to use. My question to each one of us is, if you're honest with yourself, on a 1% chance there's poison in a cup you didn't drink. But you have to agree with me that there's much more than 1% chance that the Torah is divine. Much more. Everyone agree, even those who criticize the Torah all day and all night. 1% chance for sure you have. Why do you drive on the Sabbath? Why do you light the cigarettes? Why do you turn electric? Why you do all the things that the Torah say you cannot do on the Sabbath? Because you don't even have 1% knowledge or belief in the Torah. Nothing. There's no other way to explain it. Knowing if there's 20 or 30 or 50 or 90%, like most people say, 99% faith, knowing that God forbid you exclude yourself for the life of eternity, the damage is tremendous, and you're still doing it for what? To go to the mall, to buy something, to drive to the game. The same day that God gave us the Torah 3,320 years ago until this moment, and until the end of this creation, the rule will never change, the truth will never change. God is the same God, the Torah is the same Torah, the obligation is the same obligation. We should know that according to the Jewish book of law, the Shulchan Aruch, which conclude the entire written oral Torah process of 3,000 years, it was written 500 years ago, and that's what it says in 7 different chapters and places there in the book of law. It says that a Jew that chose to violate the Sabbath and not keep it, exclude himself completely from Judaism. Since God made a covenant between him and the nation of Israel, the Torah says, you are my children, I chose you from all the nation to be mine. You cannot marry the Gentiles, you cannot behave like them, you cannot use their names. Many you should not. And how did I make you holy? Starting with this covenant of the Shabbat.
Shabbat, you must keep it strongly. A person drives Shabbat, hello, is not Jew almost. Why? The Shulchan Aruch, yes, Shulchan Aruch here. Shulchan Aruch say if somebody drives Shabbat, you're not allowed to give him Aliyah Torah to go to the Torah on Shabbat. There are 7 ones, he's not allowed to. It doesn't count. You cannot count him 10 for Minyan, for Kaddish, like a goy. If somebody drives Shabbat, he touches a bottle of wine, becomes taref like a goy. You have to pour it in the garbage. See what Halal Shabbat is. I want to tell you, what was to kill a Jew or to drive Shabbat? What's worse, do you think? To drive Shabbat is worse. I am rabbi. I'll prove to you. Who knows we have 10 commandments? You know we have 10 commandments? 10 commandments. What's the sixth commandment? Sixth one. What's the sixth one? Don't kill. Don't kill. What's the fourth one? Fourth. Not six. Don't drive Shabbat. By God, there is no difference, honey. A Nazi slaughter a Jew or drive Shabbat. The same 10 commandments. Don't fool yourself.
So you're not allowed to put the fire off. Even now you scream, Rabbi, forget about the house. Take the house donation. 700 million. Here, I sign. Here, 2 witnesses. The house belongs to the yeshiva. Take it. Sell it. Give it to all the kids who cannot go to yeshiva. All the kids who in public school, Hashem Yerachem, many of them will marry non-Jewish women and their children will not be Jewish, and all these problems. Take my house, save 1,000 people with the money, save 10,000 people with my money. Donation. Don't let the house get burned. We're gonna save 10,000 neshamot, 10,000 souls. Ma, of course Hashem wants 10,000 souls to be saved. Big deal, you put the fire off 1 second. The answer, not allowed. Shabbat, you know, people don't understand what Shabbat is. Shabbat is holier than the holiness of life. Many people make mistake because they think pikuach nefesh doche Shabbat. Somebody is sick or somebody got injured and his life is in a danger, you're allowed to take him to the hospital on Shabbat. Why? Because the Torah says the mitzvah of Shabbat should not make you die. So if your life is in a risk, you're allowed to break Shabbat until you save the person. Once the person went out of danger, then you must continue to keep Shabbat. But if your wife has to give birth now, she's in the 9th month, and there's no ambulance, you take the car and you take her to the hospital. But when you get to the hospital, you're not allowed to close the door, because they will put the light off. There's no more risk. Once you arrive there and you open the door, the risk that second is over. You close the door, you broke Shabbat. What is the punishment in the Torah of a Jew that breaks Shabbat? Did you know? How many times it's written in the Torah? 12 times. What does it say in the Torah? Chas v'shalom, God forbid 1,000,000 times, lo aleinu, lo alechem. Hashem cut that soul from the next world for eternity. God forbid. People don't know this. A lot of the good heart Jews like this Yosef from the story. When you never read the Torah, and you don't learn, and you hear it from the rabbi, not only that they don't listen, sometimes they get angry. What is this? Fanatic, extreme, too much. What do you mean extreme? The rabbi make it up? It's like you're saying to the doctor, why are you so extreme? The doctor say to you, this pill can kill you. Be careful, don't take it. Once a week only. No, I want to take it 3 times a day. No, it's blood pressure, you're going to die. For sure. No, you're too extreme, doctor. You're fanatic. You're fanatic. My doctor allow it. I'll go to him. I don't come to you. It doesn't work that way. There's one true, and that's it. That's the law of medicine. That's the law of life and death. That's the laws of the Torah. Every person that read the Torah, it's 12 times in the Torah. The rabbis did not write the Torah. It's the creator of the world that gave us the Torah in front of millions of people. What do you think, it's a joke? So some people say, wait a minute, Rabbi. Of course we believe in the Torah. Why we come to the synagogue on Shabbat? But what do you want? You want me to walk now half an hour in the heat all the way to the shul? I'm not a young man. I drive with a car. 5 minutes, I'm there. I'm sure God would understand me. I don't go to the beach. I come to the synagogue with my children. I want them to hear Torah, no? What do you think? It's a good point or no? If it was a good point, thank you. If it was a good point, then Hashem would write in the Torah, thank you, pikuach nefesh, doche Shabbat, and doche tefillah betzibur. If the only way to pray together would be by breaking Shabbat, I allow you. But it doesn't say that. Only life risk, I allow you. Anything else, I do not allow you. But I will never see the synagogue 70 years. I live all the way on the mountains over there. How am I going to come to the synagogue? I must come with a car. Don't come to the synagogue one day in your life, then one time you start the car on Shabbat. That's the law. That's the truth. I did not make it up. I promise you, I didn't make it up. This is exactly what the Torah says. Now, if you don't like it, fine, I understand you. A lot of people, when they hear it for the first time, they don't like it. But I didn't write it. You have a question, you have a problem. Next time when you go to Jerusalem, go to the Western Wall, write a note. Dear God, I don't accept this. I'm very sorry. I'm very disappointed. I just found out that I cannot come to the synagogue with the car. I'm very upset. I disagree with you. Fine, you take it with him. But don't come and say, no, that's not what the Torah says. Be honest. Be honest. When the doctor told you your situation, don't say the doctor is crazy. Say, I have a problem. Don't say the doctor is crazy because you'll be dead anyway. It's not going to help you. Say, unfortunately today I found out I have a problem. Now let's see how I'm fixing my problem because I don't want to pay the price.
Life comparing to the real life is zero. You hear? Now, what's the purpose of these few seconds in this world? To accomplish mitzvot. This is the only thing you take with you to Olam Haba. You don't take your car with you, your wife with you, your house with you. You take nothing, only mitzvot, only. Now, in that world, after you die, can you do mitzvot or not? You cannot. Over there it's too late. You didn't do it here, finish. Khalas. The level you live in this world, that level you stay with forever. Now, we should remember this concept. We should know, digest this idea that you're going to die and leave this world. You're going to come to a world you cannot do anything. No more mitzvah. God wants we give you a day, one day, all day, once in 7 days, in a row, in a rolling life. To remember this. Shabbat, you're not allowed to create a new thing. Why? Because the Gemara saying Shabbat symbols is a sample of Gan Eden, of Olam Haba. Hazal saying, Gemara saying, Shabbat me'en Olam Haba. It's a piece, sample. You know what is a sample? Shabbat is a sample of Gan Eden. Like in Gan Eden, we cannot create two more mitzvot. Shabbat reminds you, one day I'm gonna die and not to be able to put tefillin. Now I can. I can go study, I can go pray, and that will, when you die and bury you, cover you, you cannot do mitzvot. That's why Shabbat is very important. It's a sign to remind you the purpose of your life, of the creation of the whole world. The purpose. If you don't know the purpose, what the whole world worth.
He's not kidding around, I promise you. He says, ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור ואתה דבר אל בני ישראל לאמור אך את שבתותיי תשמעו כי אות אי ביני וביניכם לדורותיכם לדעת כי אני אדוני מקדישכם ושמרתם את השבת כי קודש היא לכם מחלליה מות יומת כי כל העושה במלאכה ונחייתה הנפש ההיא מקרב עמיה. הקדוש ברוך הוא says in last week's parasha chapter 31 verse 12 Hashem says to Moshe, now you speak to the children of Israel, saying, however, you must observe the Shabbats. Plural, it says Shabbats. Why Shabbats? Shabbatotai is plural. You have to tell people what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. You have to keep my Shabbats, meaning every Shabbat. No exceptions. You have to keep my Shabbat, for it is a sign, a covenant between me and you. For your generations to know that I am Hashem, who makes you holy. You shall observe the Shabbat, for it is holy to you. Its desecrators shall be put to death. It's really death upon death. Mot Yumat means death upon death. Death in this world and also no Olam Haba. This is Din Karet. He says, whoever does work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among its people. V'nichreta nefesh ha'im mikerev hamea. Nichreta is from the word karet. What's the karet part? The karet part, Rabotai Yekarim, means that a person who does not keep Shabbat is not considered a Jew. He's considered in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as 100% an idol worshipper. Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzi. That's what the Rambam writes in Ilchot Shabbat, chapter 30, last halacha. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says in 7 places. That's what the Zohar Kadosh says. That's what the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, Masechet Sanhedrin, and many other places say. Rabotai Yikarim, we have a rule in the Torah where HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you have to keep Shabbat. That's the rule. That's the covenant. If you don't keep Shabbat, not only are you losing your this world, where a person can die before the age of 60, a person can have a Shem Shmo, his children die, that's Din Karet in this world. But also you could lose, there's no heaven. Even if you somehow magically kept all of the other mitzvot and you gave $1 million a day in tzedakah. You don't keep Shabbat, no Allah Rabbah. Hashem will give you the reward in this world. And not only that, you're also considered a someone that's nichreta nefesh hayim mikera lameach, meaning that we cannot count you as a Jew as part of a minyan, as part of a Jewish ceremony. Yeah, but I was only with my friends. Okay, you'll be with your friends in a hot place too. Why is this rule so critical to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Because he says clearly, so you know that I am Hashem who makes you holy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying to us clearly, when you keep Shabbat, you are saying to me, you believe in God. You believe in me, he says. When you do not keep Shabbat, for whatever reason, when you do not keep Shabbat, you're in essence saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm an atheist. As you would have it, many of our huge Talmidei Chachamim were also big Kiruv rabbis. One of them, his name was Chafetz Chaim. You guys heard of Chafetz Chaim, right? Chafetz Chaim, heard of it. Recognizable name. Shtabach Shimo. Chafetz Chaim was not only the Baal Mishnah Brura and also the Chafetz Chaim, but he was also an enormous Kiruv rabbi. Literally, was willing to go door to door, knocking on people's doors, trying to help them do tshuva. Old man, 100 years old, please, just somebody take me door to door, I'll help him do tshuva. He met one guy one time that was a big donor. But it was Mechalel Shabbat. And the guy came to the Rav to shake his hand. Chafetz Chaim shook his hand but didn't let go. And you know, the guy is holding a holy hand. Okay, don't let go. Only problem is he started seeing the Chafetz Chaim starts to cry. Hysterical, tears, mamash, tears. And he goes, Kvod Rav, did I do something wrong? Well, what happened? You okay? It's so bad, it's so terrible, I can't believe it. So horrible, so awful. And he starts crying, somebody's dying. What happened? Kvod Rav, anything I can do? What? No more money? No, it's so fat, so terrible. It's so terrible that this wonderful, generous hand is going to be burned in Gehenom for forever. It's so horrible. Such a generous hand. It's so awful how this generous hand is going to be burned in Gehenom forever. Why, Kvod Rav? You're Mechalel Shabbat. What can we do? It's so horrible, so terrible. He's crying like he's mamash. He sees his hand burning on fire. Okay, Kvod Rav, fine. I'll keep Shabbat. Just give me like 5-6 weeks to set up my businesses, and then I'll start keeping Shabbat for the Kvod Rav. It's for you. Chafetz Chaim starts crying even more. No way, Kvod Rav. No, it's no good. Last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He goes, wait, it's my Shabbat. It's my Shabbat. If it was my Shabbat, tell you do what you want. It's not my Shabbat. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shabbat. It's so terrible, it's so awful that this generous hand, wonderful heart attached to it, is going to be burned in Gehenom forever. You see the Gedol Ador, almost 100 years old, starts crying, you do tshuva. The guy says, Kvod Rav, this Shabbat I'm keeping. But now I keep Shabbat.
Shabbat in Hebrew has 3 letters, Shin, Bet and Taf. These 3 letters, if you look at them, it's abbreviation of 3 different mitzvot, 3 different commandments. Shin stands for Shabbat, Bet stands for Brit, circumcision, and Taf stands for Tefillin, put on the heart and the head every day. Those 3 commandments have something in common. From 613 laws that God gave the Jews to keep, the Gentiles have only 7 to keep, and if they keep it, they earn a ticket to the next life. even though it's very limited as far as the reward, because the test was very easy. The Jews have a much harder job in this life, but the reward is tremendous. It's much higher than the Gentiles. But the most important thing that we have to understand, those 3 commandments have something in common. The Torah used the word ought. Ought means a sign, an agreement. For agreements you need 2 sides. One side is God, the second side is us. And God reaches arm to us, and what are we doing sometimes? We turn it down. We're not interested. We rather go to the mall on Shabbat or smoke cigarettes or do very foolish things sometimes. If a person would only know how much he's losing by violating these special holy days to God, he will never dare to do it in a million years, not even once. But the problem is that ignorance plays such a role here that Jews never read the Torah probably once in their life in this generation, most of them. They don't know what the Sabbath is. They don't believe that it's so critical. But the truth, as I said, is the same truth. If you are not educated, you're hurting yourself. Come and learn before it's, God forbid, will be too late. So those 3 commandments, the Sabbath, the circumcision, and the tefillin that we tie on our heart and head every day, those are the 3 covenants. And a Jew, in order for him to belong to the Jewish nation, the nation of God, the nation of the book, needs every day to have 2 covenants applied to him, which means every day during the week we have the circumcision, and plus we put the tefillin on the hand and the head. Those are the 2 signs. On the Sabbath, we don't put the tefillin on, we keep the Sabbath. So we have circumcision and the Sabbath. So together we always make sure we have 2 covenants on us. And if, God forbid, we will turn it down and will not keep our share in the agreement, the price is hard to bear. The Torah says that if the Jews would only know that the reward that they expected to get for every little commandments that they keep, they will run after that every second of their life. And I would like to conclude with one important statement that the Torah says. The Torah says that if you take all the pleasure of all the people, of all the generations of this entire physical world, of all the people combined, it will not be equal to the reward of one individual Jew in the next life. The original language, this is how it sounds. יפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא מכל חיי העולם הזה. 1 hour of pleasure in the next life to the Jew is equal more than all this entire planet, this entire world combined of all the people together. Money, women, sports, vacation, pleasure, art, whatever you can think of all the people, billions of thousands of years, will not be equal to your reward if you're only going to do the right thing. And if you have doubts about what I say, I'm willing to challenge each one of you. Each one of you, contact me in person, in the lectures, go into my website and check if it's possible to prove or not. Nobody could write such a book besides the creator of the world.